Hello everybody and welcome to Microsoft Ship Simulator. Well, I recently posted a video about how I thought Virtual Sailor NG was the best ship simulator available right here, right now in 2024. And some people in the comments said that no, I was wrong and Microsoft Flight Simulator is the best ship simulator. That if you load ships into it, then you've got the whole world to play with. So, although I have tried this before, in the name of science, I decided to download a free tugboat again that I got here off flightsim.to. Because if you remember, in the Virtual Sailor video that I made, if you've seen it, I was using a free tugboat that I downloaded from a third-party site. So I've downloaded a free tugboat here, put it into Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm here in the same place as I was in that Virtual Sailor video, Southampton Port. And Southampton is one of the 3D scanned cities in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So I thought I'd see how it compares. Now, if I spin around this way, the first thing you're going to notice is that these 3D scanned ships in Microsoft Flight Simulator look a bit of a mess. So whereas in the Virtual Sailor video, the Southampton scenery had sort of pre-placed ship models in it, obviously Microsoft Flight Simulator here is using some scanned models. Now I should also point out that I've got the Seafront Simulations sort of ships and boats add-on package, so you will see some other ships and some traffic coming up and down the river, which are added by that package. They're not sort of vanilla Microsoft Flight Simulator, but these ones here, these sort of melted masses of metal, are 3D scanned ships with trees growing out of them. So this is kind of the vanilla harbour view that you get from Microsoft Flight Simulator. And there's a slightly melted P&O cruise ship down the river there. And what you can see coming up here is another one of the problems with ships and boats in Microsoft Flight Simulator is the fact that the sea isn't actually a simulated mass of water. And what I mean by that is you haven't got a seabed and then water applied with physics. What you've basically got is a flat surface with sort of waves put on it. So every now and again you get these odd sort of glitches in the scenery where you end up with like a big step or a big cliff where the scenery doesn't align properly. Now obviously if you had a game with proper water physics, you might have a glitch like this in the seabed, but then the water would flow above it. The water would form obviously a mass of water that would cover over these anomalies. But again, because this water surface you see here is basically being treated like a, let's just say, a sheet of ice or a sheet of metal, all these sort of physical anomalies show through. So what's going to happen if I just apply a bit of power and actually start moving forwards, you'll see what happens when my little boat here runs into this odd glitch. Let's see what happens. So as you see, so the boat basically just rides over it as though you're driving a car up a curb or something. And now, I don't know what it's hit now. That's hit something else in the water and completely glitched out. There you go, so now it's my weird glitching boat now. So, you know, this is what you have to deal with if you're trying to sail boats in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Now another thing you may notice, as my boat jumps up out of the water again, is this flat calm sea. And this is another area where Microsoft Flight Simulator has problems. Now if I switch to my weather tab, at the moment I've got wind set at nothing. Now if I turn that wind speed up a bit, let's just turn it up to a slightly gusty 15 knots, so you should start seeing some sea behaviour. Go 16 knots, and to keep things interesting, we'll just turn the wind around to that direction, to sort of northwest, and we'll turn the gusts around to northwest. Gust at 16. Let's just turn the gust up as well, just so we've got a bit of rough weather to see how it responds. So if we turn the gusts up to 21 knot gusts. Let's now try driving our boat, and we'll see what happens. Now we should have... Now bearing in mind this is, like I say, supposedly 15 knot winds with 20 knot gusts. There's not a lot of sea activity here. But the other problem is the weather vaning. Now, at the moment I'm now turning to starboard, but I've got the rudder hard port. And as you can see, it's doing absolutely nothing, because the wind is just spinning my boat around. There's no sort of friction. I'm now gradually managing to turn back again. There's a lot of anomalies in the water here, but there's no real resistance from the water. So once the wind catches your boat, it treats it as though you're a sort of tail dragger aircraft on the ground. And I'm going to crash into this weird anomaly in the water again. And there you go, and I've crashed into something odd in the water. Okay, so I managed to free myself from that particular water glitch, but there's a few more coming up. So at the moment I'm trying to turn against the wind again, and I've got full starboard rudder here. I'm just pretty much not turning at all, because now that I'm basically facing into the wind, the vessel's just weather vaning, and it's just not letting me turn at all. It's just being held by the wind. So steering is doing not a lot at the moment. One melted looking celebrity eclipse there. I mean, granted, it's nice to have this this scenery in here, but the problem is, scenery that looks good when you're at a couple of thousand feet in a plane doesn't look very good when you're at ground level. So this autogen's looking like a melted mass. And again, now I've managed to get this far round so that I'm basically stern into the wind now. But now I can't turn any further to port, again, because I'm stuck in the wind and the boat's weather vaning. And now I've hit a weird anomaly in the sea again by the look of it. And now the wind's just blowing me completely sideways. So for all these people who talk about Microsoft Flight Simulator being the best ship and boat simulator, this is what you're having to contend with. This is what people are trying to sell you. Or not sell you, but you know, metaphorically speaking, sell you on the concept. And again, I'm stuck in the wind now, so I'm basically just going around in circles. I really don't have a lot of control. I can turn with the wind to a degree. And if you're wondering why I'm always in this external view and I haven't gone inside, it's because for some reason this model that I got free is completely screwed up, and if I go inside to the inside view, then this model appears to suddenly grow to the size of a super tanker, and my wheelhouse is basically higher than the whole of Southampton, which is odd. I don't understand why that's happening. And now I've crashed. Now this little free tugboat that I downloaded here does come with its own weather preset, which I don't know whether the weather preset is intended to help it manoeuvre in some way. But from what I can see about this weather preset is that I have clear skies but thunder and lightning for some reason, or relatively clear skies, so I don't quite know what this weather preset is supposed to do. I'm now in the relatively open water of the Solent, and there is a little bit more swell, but again, as you see, the boat doesn't respond to the swell in any way. There's no boat physics. Again, if this was Virtual Sailor now, the boat would be pitching and rolling but there's nothing. It just doesn't respond. I mean, the simple reason is for all the good that Microsoft Flight Simulator does with simulating aerodynamic forces, Microsoft Flight Simulator doesn't simulate any hydrodynamic forces. So you're not going to get that pitching and rolling. It's almost like the boat is sat on the grass and there happens to be about an inch of water flowing past it, just kind of splashing up against the hull, but to all intents and purposes the boat is sat on the ground just below the surface. So let's really whack the wind up and see what's going to happen. I mean, I don't like this thunder and lightning in this preset. I don't really know what's going on there, but let's just say if we had 30 knot winds. Let's go 36 knots. So we've got some real chop on the sea now, and we've got gusts. Do the same with gusts at 36 knots. So now we, again, are not getting any real pitching and rolling from the vessel. All that's happened is the wind is hitting it and blowing it over. So again, no real simulation of ship behaviour. It's just as though the boat is sat on solid ground, sort of teetering on its keel, and as soon as the wind blows it sort of tips over on its hull to one side. And if I were to turn the wind 180 degrees, it would then hopefully blow it back the other way again. Let's find out. And there you go, you turn the wind 180 degrees and it will start to, you need to turn the gust as well, turn the gust around, and it should start to blow it back the other way. But as you can see, it's not bobbing on the surface. There's no simulation of buoyancy here. The boat is pretty much staying at a fixed level, so when the waves come up, they're just rising above that fixed level and sort of swamping it. So no water simulation at all, really. Well, the waves have been simulated. We've got simulated waves. We haven't got simulated buoyancy or hydrodynamics. Steering is going to be next to impossible in this wind speed now. Once I get into a weather vaned position again, it's going to be nigh impossible to get out of it, I suspect. But again, no pitching, no rolling, no bobbing, no buoyancy, no real simulation of a boat at all. Which, like I say, you can't blame Microsoft Flight Simulator for that. It's not intended to be a ship simulator. I mean, it would be nice if it could simulate the buoyancy of sort of seaplanes and flying boats properly, but you know, maybe in the next version. But like I say, the point of this video really was just to highlight when people are making comments about the best ship simulator being boats in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Well, no. It's okay if you want to buzz around a flat, calm little marina in a pleasure boat, but it's not giving you a ship simulation experience. There's no real attempt at proper navigation, no attempt at proper physics. It's just not there. It'd be nice if it was, but that's not really what the game's intended for. So in closing, let's give it the highest wind we can get and see what happens. There you go. So 150 knot wind, and now the ship just takes off. It literally just flies. Even if it hits the water, there's no resistance there. Maybe 150 knots is a bit excessive. Let's bring it down to 80. I mean, okay, look, 76 knots is not outside the realm of possibility during a hurricane, and I'm not aware that. Let's do 88 knot gusts. I'm not aware that ships just start skimming across the surface of the ocean when the wind blows. So that pretty much sums it up. Do ships in Microsoft Flight Simulator work? No, is the answer. I can't really be more honest than that.